This is an early incident in the match between India and Great Britain, the final of the Sultan of Johor Cup tournament. I won't dwell on the very obvious obstruction by the Indian player here. I want to dwell on another aspect of it: the forcing of ball-body contact. Back in 2011, under rule changes, it was announced that this edition of the rules essentially seeks to simplify the game without altering its fundamental characteristics. Then goes on to say, the rule which used to say that players must not force an opponent into offending unintentionally is deleted, because any action of this sort can be dealt with under other rules. I don't for a moment believe this other rules reasoning for deleting the forcing rule. If duplication was a problem within the rules, then the half dozen or so references to physical contact could be reduced considerably. The FIH may have been seeking to change the forcing rule without altering a fundamental characteristic of the game, but they did not succeed in doing so. If you move from forcing being penalised as an offence to penalising the player who is hit as a result of forcing, there is a fundamental change. It is, moreover, not true to say that any action of this sort can be dealt with under other rules. What other rule deals with forcing a ball into a player along the ground? There isn't another, unless the ball is propelled with such velocity as to be dangerous. Anyway, it was clearly not the intention back in 2011 that this sort of action should lead to a penalty corner. Then we have the instruction given within the explanation of application of the ball-body contact rule itself. It is not always an offence if the ball hits the foot, hand or body of a field player. The player only commits offence if they gain an advantage or if they position themselves with the intention of stopping the ball in this way. There's clearly no intent by the Great Britain player to use his body, his foot, to stop the ball. He intends to use his stick. There may have been advantage gained by the Great Britain team because of the foot contact, but then we have the advantage rule to consider. Strange as it may seem, the advantage rule is not about penalising a player who has committed an offence because he has gained an advantage, but about not penalising a player who has committed an offence but has not himself disadvantaged opponents. A player who has had the ball deliberately forced into his feet has not committed an offence. A penalty is awarded only when a player or team has been disadvantaged by an opponent breaking the rules. Well, I don't think the Indian team were disadvantaged because of the action of a Great Britain player. They were disadvantaged because of the action of their own player. Playing the ball into the foot of the Great Britain player disadvantaged the Indian team because of the action of an Indian player, not because of anything that the Great Britain player had done. If there was no intent to make a fundamental change to the game, and forcing was supposed to be penalised under other rules, why are players who have had the ball forced into their feet by opponents who have disadvantaged themselves being penalised?